Hello. I'm going to do some more Summary Judgment today. Trying to power through Wave 1. I did mention trying to do that before Wave 2 got shipped out, or shipped to me. I have failed. I have some Wave 2 stuff that has arrived. I'm very excited about it. We'll also be talking about Wave 2 stuff. I haven't really given it as much thought, nor have I obviously played it. I mean, I could have used paper dolls and stuff, but I don't really dig that as far as playing. But I'm still going to try to get through all the Wave 1 heroes first. Then we'll do Wave 2. We might do some other fun stuff in there. Obviously, I also have my Full Circle channel talking about Circle Ouroboros there. So, but I'm just going to keep trying to go through the heroes I have not yet gotten to in Wave 1. I'm probably going to go a little bit more systematic than I had been. I was sort of bouncing around a little bit, sort of whatever whatever I kind of was enjoying from there most. But now we're kind of down to, I actually kind of like most everyone, or at least very close to. So we're just gonna go through the rest, and then we may do some monster reviews at some point too. That might be good. But anyways, enough babbling. I've wasted a minute and a half, and I haven't even started talking about Brok, who's the hero we're going to talk about today. So Brok is a dwarf berserker who's an aggressor, and as always, berserker is just to give you some flavor. He has a soul harvest of 3. He has a move of 3 and agility of 3. He has no resilience and a melee of 7. He's got a singular attack. It is called Cleaver. It's a melee type attack. It costs a single action. Has a 2-inch range and does a 2-3-5 for damage. He starts off at level 1 with 16 damage. At level 2 he gains 2 more to go to 18 and 2 more at level 3 to go to 20. His innate abilities are at level 1 include Backswing, which is whenever a model scores a critical hit as the result of a cleaver attack, it may choose to immediately make a bonus cleaver attack. Backswing attacks cannot score critical hits and do not cost an action. He has Ferocity, which is this model gains +1 move while resolving a charge action. And then finally he has Monster Slayer, which is this model gains a bonus +1 damage when resolving an attack or active ability versus monsters. He has 2 active abilities at level 1. He has one called Cleave, which is an action and a fate. Immediately make a cleaver attack against each enemy model in this model's melee range. This model is not distracted by enemy models when determining the attack dice pool of Cleave. And and finally, he has Savagery, which costs an action. Pardon me. And he gains +1 melee and +1 resilience, which expires at the start of his next activation. Level 2 ability, he gains Heroic Destiny as an innate ability. The first time this model is reduced to 0 health this turn, instead of dying, it immediately heals 1 health. And at level 3, Molten Metal, which is an action and a fate. Target enemy model within 2 inches suffers D6 true damage for each point of res it has. Oh, excuse me. And just a couple notes on his final card. I haven't really talked about some other episodes, but the character cards really are 3 cards because of the amount of space they require, and the way they've formatted the cards and whatnot. The 4th card is always either clarifications on certain rules or provides the information on like how a certain type of rule works. So just a little background there. So anyways, it just mentions Backswing can only be triggered during his activation. So if he gets a parting blow, you can't backswing. Cleave. I'm going to read this whole one actually because it's kind of big. Calculate attack dice pool for each attack individually and resolve each attack before moving on to the next. The active player chooses the order of the attack. Brok cannot use Cleave in the place of his charge attack. Attacks from Cleave do not trigger Backswing. So that some of that may not have been clear. This clears that up. Heroic Destiny does say that Brok does not actually die, and the events that would occur when a hero dies won't trigger. And then there's just a note that true damage means that it ignores resilience. So, what's Brok's deal? Well, He's a pretty straightforward melee aggressor. In my opinion, he's certainly a very strong melee aggressor. I tend to, if I'm looking for one of the like standardy ones, I would say I put him. I personally like him better than some others. He does have an advantage against monsters, as you can see. Being able to get +1 damage versus monsters does mean often he's going to be able to get. He's going to be more effective into those, which will lead to some effective early turns a lot of times, or later in the game. Might just be key for that. Being able on certain maps, like the swamp maps where there's usually more monsters in a smaller confines, he's very strong as well. Things of that nature. So definitely would say Brok is... and then on top of it, Brok just has a very high potential for damage. I would say he does not generally use a lot of Fate, which is very important. I mean, Cleave is a good ability, but it's by no means necessary. He is all about scoring critical hits, though, so the more ways you have to bump up this guy's melee stat, the better, right? He likes having a friend nearby. He likes Bastion, who we've talked about in a different episode. He definitely wants the Vorpal Blade, I would say, weapon. He definitely wants to score critical hits, because now, if you think about how backswing works, if you can manage to score a crit, you're going to do 5 damage, and then when you swing back, hopefully you can get another 3. That puts him at, I think, the top, like, sort of consistent, like, type damage in the game. I'd have to double check, but it's something to put him very high. And against a monster, those numbers go up to 10 damage. So that you could theoretically just do 10 damage from a single attack from this guy against a monster. Ferocity is also very important because the dwarves are typically very slow at a move of 3, but this means he charges the same as most of the other melee aggressors. They actually out threatens Rakir by an inch because he has 2 inch on the cleaver. But that puts him up. Thorgar's, move 4. Zonia's move 4. Missing another aggressor. Dwarf, Minotaur, Orc, Elf. Nephany, I think, might be farther because she's speed 5, but she's only 1 inch melee. I'd have to go look. Anyways, you get the idea. Very strong. Savagery is very interesting because it does give him the potential to get an extra resilience, and since he's also not a defender, he can get the I forget the name of the item, but it's the one that gives you a resilience, which can make him actually surprisingly tanky at times, depending on the matchup. His level 2 ability can be very important because it means that you're sort of changing the math on what it takes to kill him, because you're always going to basically need +1 attack, because I don't believe there's any way in the game to prevent this from happening that I know of. So unless there's something that takes away innate abilities. I think there's one thing that takes away innate abilities. But that notwithstanding, Heroic Destiny is going to require them to have another source of damage from somewhere. And that's just good. And at level 3, I don't know, Molten Metal is going to be situational, of course, but if they have someone like Don Rockar, Marcus, Thrommel, I'm trying to think who else has high res. Those are the 3 that occur to me. There's a couple others, or if somebody takes that, so it might prevent somebody from taking that item in the first place, but like Don Rockar taking probably 10-11 points of damage for the cost of a Fate and an action, and then on top of it getting some attacks in there is going to be pretty significant. So yeah, I mean, there's not a ton to say about Brok. I think when you need some melee damage, Brok is going to be your guy. Or certainly a great choice. On maps with extra monsters, he's going to be a priority. He definitely wants to be going in on targets where he can score those critical hits. So any knockdown, any way to reduce their agility, so poison. Any way to increase his hitting, so Bastion, having friend there, Vorpal Blade. Trying to think if I'm missing anything. Any of those type of things are going to be really great. Just just as a note, he does pair well with Loribella, as all dwarves do, because she's going to give him +1 move at level 2, I believe. And her healing effects are increased for dwarves and minotaurs, so that makes her definitely an interesting include with really any dwarf, but certainly here with Brok, I think both of those rules are beneficial to him. Yeah, and that's Brok. So not a ton really here to like overanalyze. I don't think. I think he's a very strong melee aggressor, as I've been saying. I'm trying to see if there's any real like tricks to point out, but I don't really think that there are. You can certainly combine, speaking of Bastion, you can certainly combine Heroic Destiny with Bastion's, I think it's Time Walk effect at level 3, and make it so now he, like, you can't kill him, and then you can't kill him again, and he goes back to the effigy, so that could be pretty strong too. Anyways, if you like these videos, please let me know in the comments. Feel free to hit me up on my Discord, which is Full Circle, which I know is my War Machine one, but I'm willing. Certainly, we can talk Judgment in there too. Although there is a Judgment Discord, and it's pretty quiet, so you'll have a pretty easy time getting some stuff there. Check that out. It should be posted on their website and on the Facebook group. And you can find me on any social media. We can definitely talk more Judgment there. And as always, I hope you enjoyed the video, and we will see you next time.